What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Warframe and we're talking the Dragon Nikanas using the Decisive Judgement melee stance mod on this one. Decisive Judgement is fierce double-handed strikes, as you will see. It's a little bit slower in terms of its strikes just because it is two-handed instead of single-handed, but nonetheless this is a devastating setup. It's taken me a while to put it together, so hopefully you enjoy it and you try it out and let me know what you think. So here's the combinations that are right here on the screen. Not as many as the Tranquil Cleave mod, but this is just enough to be able to pull them off with ease, more or less most of the time, and do what you need to do. Okay, basic stats on the weapon. We know this is currently the most powerful sword weapon in the game, if you will. Impact 4.3, Puncture 8.5, Slash 72.3, Spin Attack 182, Leap Attack 170, Wall Attack 182, Attack Speed of 1, Critical is 2 times 15%, Status is 15%, Stamina of 7.5. These are the base stats on the weapon, which are actually very good for base stats of a weapon. As we roll in here, this is how my build is going to come out. We're going to come out with an impact of 13.6. Puncture is going to be 27.2. Slash is 439. I am going to use a corrosive elemental on here for 326. Spin attack is going to be 1725. Leap attack 1613. Wall attack 1725. My attack speed goes down just a tiny bit to 0.8, but I bring up my critical to a 3.8 base at 24%. Very good. And I bring up my status chance to a 33%, which is pretty good as well. Stamina goes down just a slight bit, but nothing really noticeable at all. And Conclave of 146, so it's still pretty good in terms of that. Now, let's get into the base here and see how we've got this built up. So again, we're going to start with the Pressure Point mod, as always. We want to build some base damage in here, so Pressure Point 120% melee damage is going to go on there. Then we are also going to add in here as well a Spoiled Strike, must be picked up for this one. 100% damage, negative 20% attack speed, but that's okay because now we're at 220% base as well. And of course we're going to do with Jagged Edge on this one for the 90% slash damage as the base. So we're going to bring that up to 310% for base damage increases on here. Now that we've got the base damage on here, what we want to do is we want to work on our critical and our status chance as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with bringing in our True Steel mod. Okay, it's going to give me an extra 60% critical chance on here to bring that up to a 24%. While it's not significant, it is in terms of a number, what you're looking at, it is pretty significant with this Nikana as in terms of how it works. And in order to bring up our base and make it really good, we're going to add the Organ Shatter, max that out at a 90% critical damage increase off the base. You can figure out all the calculations, but it's 3.8 times your base at 24% chance to critical. And this weapon does pretty much crit every 2 or 3, technically you could say 4 hits, but it does critical a lot. So that's how we're going to add in our critical. Now, in order to add in our elemental and our status, I am using Voltiac Strike, I can't speak, which is going to give me my base electrical damage and a 60% status chance increase. And I'm also using Virulent Scourge, which is going to give me my base bonus poison damage and another base 60% status chance. For this build, these are a must-have if you want to bring up the status chance. Again, you can work without the status. What's nice having this additional status chance on there, that 33% status chance with corrosive, gives you an armor reduction effect. If you can get it in there at 33%, it's pretty good. Every time you do a stat on this, a proc damage to it, it's a 25% damage reduction on armor. So it's really good in the voids, really good against high level Grenier. And it is stackable, so the more times you hit them and you get that proc in there, the more it stacks. You can actually totally eliminate their armor in the process. So that's why I went ahead and did it that way. So hopefully you can see how that becomes a really good setup in the build. Now the other thing I want to do here is, because we are going to be slower, okay, we're going to have to add in either a Fury or a Berserker mod. For me, I think it's pretty well known that for me the mod that I enjoy the most is definitely the Berserker mod. So we're going to go ahead and throw in the Berserker. Adds the 30% attack speed bonus for 24 seconds on a critical hit, which we know, since we're building this more critical wise with a higher status, it's going to crit most often, and so you're going to consistently be at that attack speed. But if you don't want to run it that way, you can go ahead and use a Fury mod, which would just give you a straight 30% increase off your attack speed as well. So that would bring you back up a little bit higher than the loss that you get from the Spoiled Strike mod. So it kind of works itself out in the process. But that's it. We're keeping it simple, but it is very good. It's a very damaging weapon. Works very well this way. You do need to be very aggressive in this one. You need to be mindful of your frame that you're running. You need to be weary of everything that's in your surroundings while you're doing it, just because it is a little bit slower than the other one, even though you can get those heavy hits in here. And I enjoy it. I have run it on everything so far. It took me a while, like I said, to get into this build this way and set it up, so hopefully you do enjoy it. Let me know what you think. You can change some stuff around, like we said. You could eliminate the status. I don't really recommend it in this type of setup, but you could eliminate it. You could put some other stuff in there. So, if you have any suggestions, any comments, you've done the build slightly different, that type of thing, using Decisive Judgment, feel free to leave comments below at any time. Let others see what you've set up, and maybe they can come up to a compromise in between the builds to something that works for them, because nobody has a perfect build. Everybody's going to build it based off of how they play. Hopefully my build is good enough and that you enjoy it. But what we're going to do is here, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up on the screen in just one moment here, so that way you could see it. This again is going to be the final build of the weapon. So Decisive Judgment, we're going to use Organ Shatter, True Steel, Jagged Edge, Pressure Point, Berserker, Spoiled Strike, Virulent Scourge, and a Baltiac Strike as my setup on this one. Nothing too complicated. There is no channeling damage on here, no channeling efficiency. But what we lack in that, we make up for in our critical chance and our status, as I said. Of course, with the elemental combo, we get that armor reduction chance on the corrosive. While it's not very effective in the Corpus stance, it is very good for Grineer, Infested, and whatnot. So you got to have a trade-off. Nothing is perfect, but it works very well otherwise. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please do hit that like button if you did. Comments anytime. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and you like this stuff on this channel. And stay tuned for more. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys later.